So here we go. What's fuel economy? Well, there's a formula for it. So this is how you would calculate it, right? This is on your formula sheet. This is page 66 in your booklets. So this is on your formula sheet. If you want to have it on your study sheet, you go for it. But it can be calculated, but it also tells us how many liters the car uses per 100 kilometers. That's like a standard way of stating the fuel economy. I have a question. Sometimes I have questions like, what is that good for? Why do I even care? I'll tell you this. If you're shopping for a car and you're like, hey, should I get a Subaru WRX or should I get a Honda Civic? What should I get, right? You can go online and Google fuel economy. I don't know what the fuel economies are for those cars, but I'll just give you this. My truck uses 15 liters per 100 kilometers in the city. A Honda Civic probably uses 8 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers. Uses a lot less. It saves you a lot of money. Okay, knowing like this number, if you Google it, fuel economy of Nissan Rogue. If you want an SUV, it will show up online, right? And you go to forums, like people actually keep track of that themselves when they gas up. And so you get like the real fuel economy, not the one they advertise. You get the real fuel economy, okay? So once you have your fuel economy, so what is it? It tells us how many liters per 100 kilometers. You can calculate it. You need liters and distance, right? Boom, there you have it. Once you have this, pay close attention to this. Once you have this, you can answer two questions. The first one, for example, if someone says, hey, how much fuel, how many liters, right, would you need to drive a certain distance? You go grab your fuel economy, right? You set it up like that as a proportion. You put that down first, and then you go equals, you put the distance on this side at the bottom. It does matter where you put it, right? So you want to match your units. I don't know if you remember that from grade 10, 11. I do think that teachers teach it slightly differently. I'm not too picky with how you do it, as long as you come up with the answer. Like whatever method teachers taught you, maybe in junior high, a teacher like showed you how to do things like these, how to solve them. Just show your work and I can figure it out, okay? Because some students divide right away. They go like, divide this and then times it by that, right? You are right, can be done. But I like to show my work like this, and then I cross multiply and divide, right? So that's how many liters I would use to travel that distance. So Vancouver or somewhere in that neighborhood, like that's about 1,500 kilometers. I'll Google it. I think I'm lying to you. It might be more. But you would need about this many liters. Can we just add that? Because I haven't done this yet. So if you need that many liters, let's just do a side note here. Why do you do that? Just leave it alone, right? If gas costs I think right now it's like, this is what I saw today. $1.63 if you round it per liter. They use 3 decimals when it comes to fuel because they want to try to get really close to what it actually is. They don't want to round because then they may lose or unfavorably gain, right? But if gas costs this much, how much would it cost to fuel, right? Calculate the cost. If gas costs $1.62, right? Calculate the cost of fuel. This is how you do it, guys. Cost is just liters times price per liter. That's how you do it. I would probably add that to my study sheet under fuel economy. Yeah. So in this case, how many liters are we requiring? We just calculated that yesterday, 143.4, and we just multiply it by 1.629. Grab your calculators. 143.4 times 1.629. That's 233,598. So that would round to 60, right? Because that 8 bumps the 9 to 10, which bumps this to 6. So to make that trip, you would need approximately $233. Never add tax. Okay, I'm going to say that again later on. Gas prices are already taxed. What you see at the pump is what with all taxes included, and it's not taxed like everything else, 12% or 5%. It's very different when it comes to fuel. Very different. Like we don't even go there. But the carbon tax has been added to this. The 162 that we see, it would probably be a bit less if we didn't have the carbon tax in place, but we do have it. So I don't know. I think it's like 10 cents a liter more. So gas prices would be 1.529 right now if it wasn't for the carbon tax. Okay. Keep taxing everyone. What do I want to do now? I want you to try the example 2 there. I want you to, with what it's saying, figure out Julia's fuel economy. It's a little trickier to get the distance traveled, but I think you will get the fact that this is your starting odometer reading, and this is the end reading. So you need to do something with those two numbers to figure out how many kilometers she traveled. So give that a try. I'm just going to do this one more example after, and then we're going to go leasing. Okay, so give it a try. Just because of time, I'm going to have to cut you off here. Sorry about that. So calculate Julia's fuel economy. So that means you need to actually figure out what it is. So fuel economy is liters. So she filled up 45 liters, right? So that's right there. And watch the denominator. It's going to look a little different. The denominator is going to be the difference between these two numbers, right? Because she records it at first, and then she drives a bunch, and now it's this. So it's the difference, right, that happened there. So watch how I show this. You can do this on the side, but I like to show it right here. If you did it on the side, do not erase. It's not wrong, right? But this is going to give me the distance traveled, and then I'm just going to go times 100, and I got my answer. So do this in steps. 45 liters over, you subtract those. Right, that's 345.8 kilometers times 100. So I go 45 divided by 345.8 times 100. So it's 13.01, right? About 13 liters, but to be specific, 13.01 liters per 100 kilometers. So now we figured out the fuel economy of her car, and that's how you can do it too. If total cost, find the total cost, right, of fuel if it's this much per liter. So we'll just go cost is 45 liters because that's how much he filled up, right? 45 liters times 1.209, and here we have it. $54.41. Note, don't add taxes to fuel prices or fuel costs. Okay. Maybe that should be like somewhere on your study sheet under fuel economy, don't add taxes to fuel, because this might bite you down the road, right? Like let's say it's exam time and you're like, oh, find the cost. Oh yeah, beautiful, 12% probably. Let's just smack, you're like, just add 12% and it'll be wrong, right? So make sure you make a note of that. Okay, I'm stopping this here. And